Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my Facebook Live. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending the next 30 minutes or to an hour of this transmission. I am very, very, very excited actually to talk about this topic because it's something that I personally had a lot of resistance to. And once I unlocked and really understood how to embody gratitude in my life really began to change on how I experienced it every single day. So thank you for being here. If you're joining live or on the replay, please say hello. I would love to say hello back. You can make this as interactive as you want. If you want to comment, if you just want to listen, if you want to ask questions, whatever your vibe is, I'm completely down. If at any moment you feel that, oh my God, this was so good, I really need to share it, please go ahead and share it. I would greatly appreciate it. I think there's going to be some really good nuggets of wisdom in here that you're going to be like, oh my God, I definitely need to share this information with either on your Facebook wall or sending a message to somebody, whatever it is. Because this for me, I can't wait to get into all the things. Also, hello YouTube, because I will be placing this up on YouTube as well. Okay, let's see. I got my notes here, so I will be referring to them. I want to make sure that I have everything on here. Okay, that I follow my outline. And I'm feeling a lot more confident now. If you were on my last live, I shared about how I'm really releasing a lot of the attachments that I had to metrics and how that attachment ended up me being really weird on my lives and not giving the best energy. So now that I got that first one out of the way of like speaking that and really sharing what my experience has been going live, now I feel a lot better. I feel more confident coming in here, and I'm allowing the time that it takes for me to actually get all the information that I need so that I can communicate with you effectively. And that's always my goal, really, more than anything, that I'm really communicating with you the information that I have in here. Because if not, like, what's the point, right? I don't want to sound all awkward and caught into my head. So if at any point you see me referencing my notes, that's exactly what I'm doing here. I want to make sure I follow the nice streamline. Okay, so today we're going to talk about gratitude. And I know, people talk about gratitude all the time, blah, 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 but I want to really share my spin on it and my personal experience on the word gratitude, because I personally really hated the word gratitude. Like, I really did. I did not like this word. I had a lot of resistance to it. I felt like if I was grateful, then I couldn't want for more. I felt that, you know what? I don't want to be fucking grateful. Like, my life is not where I want it to be. So how are you telling me to be grateful if there's certain things that I want? So I was consistently living in the future, not trying to understand this word gratitude, which when I did try, the things that I actually felt that I would sit and say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, those exact things, something would happen to it. Like if it was, I'm grateful for money, then something would happen to money, whether I had a really expensive bill to pay, whether, the money that I thought was coming in wasn't coming in, whatever it was. With my body, then I would jump on the scale, go up 5 pounds. Like there was always something that when I try to practice this word gratitude, that would happen. And it was very difficult for me to anchor in and really root in this word gratitude. Like so much. Like I did not like using the word, and then I tried using the word appreciation, and that kind of helped. And that's a little tool that I'll share a little bit later. But okay, appreciation was better, but there's a different frequency with gratitude. It really is. Because gratitude, if you look it up in the dictionary, it's thankfulness. Thankfulness. It's like, I don't want to feel thankful. Like, my life is not where I want it to be. I can't be thankful. And if my life did, for a moment, everything was exactly aligned how I wanted it to be, it was almost like this entitlement, and then something would happen where it would be like kind of swept out from under me, right? So I had this resistance against the word gratitude. And let me know, what about you? How did you feel with the word gratitude? How do you feel with the word gratitude? Maybe it resonates. Maybe you don't really have resistance, but you want to hear what this conversation is about. Maybe you do have resistance. Maybe it just feels, ugh. To me, it's like a push-pull energy. Like, okay, I understand the meaning behind it, but like there was this huge like, no, 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 with the word. Especially as I mentioned, when I would be trying to be grateful for things, like I remember my stepdad, I was talking to him about it, back in my early 20s, and he's like, yeah, try gratitude. I'm like, no. Every time I do whatever I'm grateful for, something goes to shit with that. I'm not, no thanks. So there are 6 different things, aspects, codes that I want to share with you. Doorways, whatever you want to call it. That for me really helped release this resistance towards this word and towards the things that I felt I don't want to be grateful for. And when I did that, like really, really did that, like really start anchoring in gratitude, like my life has changed. Like I can live life and feel it through my entire being, even when things aren't exactly how I want it to be. I'm in harmony with my life. I'm not fighting against it. And the areas where I'm like, I desire more, I'm not fighting against that. I can hold the energy and the frequency of gratitude with that because I know more is going to come. But there's something with that if you have not unlocked this key or this code or this doorway, whatever you want to fucking call it, it's going to be really, really, really hard, and you're going to be always fighting against it. And it's going to be really hard for you to actually feel gratitude. It's going to be a superficial gratitude. It's not going to end right. And maybe, you know what? Maybe it was like that for me, where life was just reflecting back to me the resistance that I had to the word towards the thing I was trying to be grateful for. I'm trying to practice this gratitude thing. So, because there's a lot of stuff attached to that word and to the things that you don't feel grateful for, which we're gonna get into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that I want to share with you with this word is, now what I'm going to share with you with this is really my experience. I can only share through my experience, how I experience things. So maybe yours was a little bit different, and maybe this one code here doesn't quite resonate, but I think a lot of us can really resonate with this, because from every time that I hear about past experiences with our childhood, it's usually very similar experiences. But if you don't, no worries, wait for the next ones, because the first 2 may be specific for a person through your experience and how you grew up with things. So for me, the word gratitude growing up was really the way that it was presented to me growing up as a child, in my household, was more of a way to shut me up, for me to be forced into being thankful for something, because when I asked for something, they didn't have the money for it, or they didn't have the means to give me whatever it was that I wanted, right? So and to be content with what I had and happy with what I had, even if I felt like it wasn't good enough. I'm not happy with what I have. For example, for breakfast, at one point in my life, it was cereal covered with sugar ants. And it's like, be grateful that you have cereal, even though it's covered with sugar ants, because there's kids suffering in Africa that don't have food to eat every day, right? We all heard that. Like almost everybody can relate with that. Like there's kids suffering in Africa. But you're telling me to be grateful because there's no context given to this besides that. To be grateful about cereal that has sugar ants in it, like loaded with sugar ants. I'm not talking about one sugar. I'm talking about loaded with sugar ants. And you want me to be thankful? Like, this is disgusting. You know, I'm thinking here like a 7-8-year-old child. Like, this is gross. I don't want to be thankful for this. I want something else. I want real food. So what I think is happening here, when our parents would do this to us, when we would want for something, we triggered them. We triggered something inside of them where they felt money scarcity and not good enough because they couldn't give you what you wanted as a child. And that's what every parent wants, right? Especially, I know my parents did. They left a third world country, came to the United States to give me a better life, to give me everything that they didn't have. To know that there will always be food, even if it's bare minimum, but I would always have food. And I wouldn't have to deal with what they dealt with in their country and the lack of possibilities in their country. So as a parent on that side, I can understand, right? Like I came to this world, I sacrificed so much to give you a better life, and you're asking me for more, but I can't give you more. And because of their own guilt, their own shame, be grateful for what you have. Other kids don't have what you have. I used to play with cockroach as a child, and you get to play with actual cars and dolls, right? So that's not a very emotional, intelligent word of wisdom from a parent to give to a child, because I'm pretty sure when we ask them these questions, who knows what's going on in their mind, and maybe they're paying a bill, they don't have money for themselves, they don't have money to go and do things for themselves, and then here's my child asking me for things and I can't give it to them, so boom, be grateful for what you have. With that, as a person receiving that information, you then understand it as a child. This is how I understood it. It's like, don't desire more, don't want for more. You have to be content with what you have. There is something wrong with you if you want more in your life. So you have this entanglement with this word gratitude. Like it's entangled things with what our caregivers are telling us and how we receive that information, and also what we see with them, because they're also going for more, right? They're going for the better jobs, they're going for this. So you're telling me to be okay with what I have, but you're also seeking more. There's conflicting energies in that. You get what I'm saying? So the first key to unlock is to see, is this what you feel about the word gratitude? Because that's how I felt. Like, you have to be content with what you have. You have to feel okay. And you don't desire for more, don't want for more. It's like, be okay, be humble. Mixed energy with the word gratitude, because there wasn't a proper way to communicate and to really anchor in the word gratitude and how to hold desire for more, which I'm going to get into the next few ones. But this was a big one for me, to really release any tiny programming from caregivers, from adults, from whatever, when it came to money doesn't grow on, what do you think I am, a bank? Money doesn't grow on trees. Like, what do you think I am, made of money? All these different words that our parents would give on us that made us feel guilty for wanting more, and then you should be grateful for what you have. I don't want to be grateful for eating cereal with freaking sugar ants in them. You get what I'm saying? and perhaps other ways that our parents manipulated that word. If you really had parents who were very dysfunctional and perhaps maybe withheld love, or would use the word gratitude in other manipulative ways. Like, I give you so much, you should be grateful. I'm so always self-sacrificing for you, you should be so grateful. You know, if you had really dysfunctional parents, manipulative parents, controlling parents, and they would use that against you based on how they treated you emotionally, let's say. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of entanglement with this word. A lot. And that's the beginning. That's when I first hated this word, okay? That's like the start. So, but there's another piece to this. So here's the other part to the word gratitude that I think our parents could have messed us up to, because they could have created spoiled brats as well. I was a spoiled brat. I felt very entitled because my parents did do that, did give me everything that they could not have, really work their fucking asses off. And because I didn't have the anchoring of the word gratitude because of how it was presented to me, that I became entitled to have things. For my 16th birthday, I said, I better have a car or I'm going to be so mad. Could you imagine if my child said that to me, like, excuse you? No, this is not how it works. But of course, there's other reasons why my parents allowed me to talk to them that way and to be demanding in that way. But then with that comes in, I'm not feeling gratitude for the things that I actually have. Because our life started off pretty poor and then really got a lot better, right? I mean, clearly I'm not poor. So that's the other aspect of this. Did our parents really know how to teach us gratitude from a really holy place of what it really means, and not use it in a way to manipulate us, to make us feel different, to just brush us off with what we were asking for, and really anchor in how far the family has come, the generational lie has come, how you have come. And if they're always pushing and giving us things, because they're lacking something within them too, because if they have money scarcity, if they feel if we give us enough, or if there's something lacking within them that they feel like if I give this enough to you, then because of whatever guilt they have, maybe they'll be happy. Maybe I did something, like they're trying to fill a void, right? That's more the appropriate word here. They're trying to fill a void with the overgiving and not really anchoring in the gratitude along with that and the appropriateness of to how much to give. I think there is a fine line with that, right? If you overgive with somebody too much when they don't really like deserve it in the framework of, are you actually feeling a reciprocity? I can't say the word. Reciprocity? Reciprocity. Somebody help me. Reciprocating that back. Have you ever felt as a woman, you gave so much to a man that it made you feel empty and it made you feel unappreciated, taken for granted? And yet you think, if I continue to give you more, he'll love me. It's probably the same exact energy that our parents would do to children who are spoiled and entitled in some way. Maybe not they'll love me, but maybe they will feel enough because I don't feel enough because of the lack of the things that I had growing up, because I felt very lack inside of me. I don't want my kids to lack. Which is true. Maybe your children don't lack. Maybe you grew up not lacking. But if there's no way to plant your feet in the ground with where you are and what you have, you will always feel not enough. You will always feel lack. You will always feel scarcity. Or if all of that shit all of a sudden was gone, then who are you? So this is the beginning. This is the first code here, the first key. How was the word gratitude used for me, and how were you shown to actually appreciate things that you have, actually have thanks for the things for you have, show love for the things that you have? Which, by the way, when I got that car, my Hyundai Tiburon that was stick shift, because I said that's all I wanted, a stick shift car, because I thought it'd be so cool. 2 weeks later, I'm bored of this car. Such a spoiled brat, which I do get, I was. And I know I created that personality, was created through some of the things that my parents, did unconsciously, but also me. It was this arrogance thing that I also, part of my personality that I created because of inferiority that I felt. So I felt if I overcompensated, I would feel better. And then also didn't want people to get close to me because of the abandonment wound, which I've definitely been clearing so much of that. But with cars anyways, I am the kind of person that I actually do get bored of cars very quickly. That's why I lease. So I learned that very quickly. Do not buy, Jessica, because I always like new things. That's just part of me, and I'm okay with that. Which is part of our human nature to want more, which we're gonna talk more about that. Now, yeah, so, okay. Now let's talk to the second point, which is also going to come up with your upbringing, especially with more religious upbringings. Again, this is my experience when it comes to Christianity. Your experience may be different. So I'm really only speaking on my experience. I respect all different types of religions and cultures. And this really is about how I feel, because it's just my experience. And this is my journey in my life. And maybe you resonate with it, maybe you don't. And if you don't, go ahead and skip on to the next one. So for me, the other one that I really had so much resistance with this word gratitude was with God. Pray to God every night for the things that you're grateful for. Be thankful for what you have, because if not, God can take it away from you at any time. So I'm going to give you the way I experienced God growing up through the church. My relationship with God is so much more different now, especially once I unlocked this thing that I'm going to share with you now with gratitude and God. So my experience with God was this. It was not growing up. It was that God was separate from me. I was taught that God was outside of me, that he's an all-fearing God, and be careful what you do, because he can take anything away from you at any time. To worship him endlessly, to praise him, to love him, and in exchange to that, he will give you what you want. But be careful. If you fuck up in any way, he's going to take it from you. Even when I describe that, the level of anger that I feel in my body is like, no. Why would I want to give gratitude to a God like that? You know what it sounds like? An abusive relationship. And I know exactly what that feels like, because with my ex, it was love him, praise him, worship him, be good to him, and in exchange, he will be good to you. However, do something that he doesn't agree with, and guess what? I'm going to punish you. I am going to withhold love from you. I'm going to take something away from you. I'm going to threaten the relationship until you do what I feel that you should be doing. That is an abusive relationship. And that is exactly the type of God that I was taught growing up. So when you're telling me, when I'm being told at this young age, and this is how I experience this God that I'm being taught about, why would I want to be grateful to someone who can at any moment take it away from me because they feel like it, because I didn't do something that they agree with? This is exactly what I experienced in my previous relationship. Now that I actually have a full-on experience with that, I can, once I started to heal my relationship with God, I can really see like, whoa, like this is what I was taught. So when I'm sitting there being grateful, it was really hard to do that when I feel this resentment towards this God. So which is why I didn't really resonate a lot with the Christianity, at least with the churches that I grew up in. And there was other things in there that I didn't vibe with. I just did not vibe with. So then as I started creating my own relationship with God, with spirit, with source, and really seeing a different avenue, that God is not separate from me, that I am an extension of source living through me. So when I'm giving thanks to my original core, where I came from, on a spirit level, on a soul level. And when I started to experience direct communion with God and experience oneness, not this separation that God is outside of me and God is this punishing God and that God's going to take things away from me, just like I experienced with my previous relationship, where he was like, the love was like outside of me, and I was always trying to chase that love, to feel accepted, to feel all of that. Like there's a separation, there's not this oneness, there's not this, we are here together as a team, like how I'm experiencing my sacred union now. How I experience my sacred union is we are one, just as we are one with God. I can give thanks to a God like that. I can feel gratitude when things come into my life because I feel that oneness connection, because he's not outside of me. He is me. I am the goddess incarnated as a female body. You are a goddess incarnated in a female body. You are a god incarnated in a male body. Now, if you want to just use the law of attraction, if you want to use like a different way to maybe wrap your head around this, which also helped me too. I felt like the relationship that I started to create and redoing all the programming that I was taught about, God and all of that stuff and Jesus, and really getting in tune with like Mary Magdalene, a lot of ascended masters, really connecting to my own spirit guides, having direct connection with source. When I would feel source, divine Father, God in my body, telling me I am here. I am here. Like God is not outside of me. He's not separate from me. She is not separate from me. And when I learned with the law of attraction, right, where everything that happens in your life is because you attracted it to you. So the car accident that you did or didn't have, the lover that you did and didn't have, the money that you do and that you don't have, the health that you have or that you don't have, the body that you have or that you don't have, the home that you have or that you don't have, all of that you co-created. You brought that in because the universe is always responding to you, right? That's what we're taught with the law of attraction. So if that's the case, then the universe is also a part of you, because this is like, you are an extension of that. So when something really good happens into your life, like, you co-created that. It was something that you did. It wasn't something that just magically happened, which I think is the other reason why I felt like when I was giving gratitude, it was almost like taking away, when I gave gratitude to God, it was taking away something from me, like as if I wasn't a player in this. Of course you're a player in it, and that's what the law of attraction lets us know. So when I'm actually giving thanks, I'm giving thanks to this co-creation with me and source, with me in the universe, with me and my highest self. It's like I'm giving like double thanks, because it's oneness, right? So when you're in oneness consciousness, everything is an extension of you in a sense. Like, we're all one. So that helped me really anchor in this gratitude and not feel the resistance, because I wasn't giving thanks to something that I felt was an abusive entity. It's like, no, we are all one. And everything that happens to you, you co-created that. You did that too, with the extension of you. You know what I mean? And yes, when bad things happen, there's a lesson you can extract from that, and that lesson, and that is what you can be grateful for. The lesson you can be grateful for. You may not necessarily be grateful for the exact incident that caused a lot of turmoil in your life, but you can be grateful for the lesson. My ex-fiance, the man I was talking about that was abusive, with him, I'm not necessarily grateful for him. I'm grateful for what I learned in the relationship. You know, I am grateful for the amazing things that he did teach me and the amazing times that we had, of course. But I'm also grateful for the shadow aspects that called me to rise. Because that relationship created the woman that I am now. And the hardships that have happened post that relationship, when it comes to this other area, which we're going to talk about in one of the key points here, which is actually the next, is it the next point? It's the second point. How long have I been talking for? It's not telling me the time. Oh well. We're rolling with it. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I can extract the lessons from all of that and feel gratitude for the lessons and gratitude for every single piece that led me to rise once again to my truth, to my own sovereign divinity, and let go of external validations. Someone's home. I hope a boot doesn't start barking. Okay, so the third point here is I learned that, okay, so now we got those two things covered, right? The way that our parents instilled gratitude into us, whether they did or didn't, or how they did it, right? Or filling a void with giving too much and not really anchoring in this part of gratitude or in how we treated them and all of those things. Then we had this God piece, right? Oneness. You're giving gratitude, really giving gratitude to you and an extension of you, because you both co-created it together. Then the third part is, which was, God, this was so mind-blowing for me, is gratitude has nothing to do with wanting more. This one for me was huge. Why was it huge? Because of what I mentioned, where I felt like if you were grateful, if you were accepting of what was, then I couldn't desire for more into my life. I had to be okay with what was. But I'm not okay with what was. I want more. Yes, you can have more. So Melanie Ann Lair has this saying where she says, 1 foot firmly granted in gratitude and the other one lifted in desire. And that for me was just like, oh my God, yes. This is why there was resistance to this word, because it felt like I couldn't want for more. I couldn't desire for more, that my needs couldn't be met because I had to be grateful for what I had, right? Even in an abusive relationship, right? There's this energy of like, be grateful, even if my own needs aren't being met. So gratitude has nothing to do with you wanting more. You are always going to want more. So it's really about being thankful for what you have and for what is. And holding the frequency for more. Holding that desire for more. And firm here on the ground where you are. You have to do both if you want to be a woman who can hold and have it all. Because if not, if you're only here in the wanting more, then what you are experiencing will never be enough, and life is going to pass you by, and it's going to be like, whoa, where did time go? Which I'm sure a lot of us already experienced that. I used to experience that until I really started anchoring in this gratitude, taking in the present moment, really enjoying everything that I fully have, giving love to the things that I've already have. Because there are precious memories and moments with the things that you already have. Right? So gratitude has nothing to do with wanting more. Remember that. Never, ever, ever. So you can let go of any of that feeling of if I'm grateful or accepting or, okay with what is, and I can't. No, it's not true. It's just being thankful and learning to be in that energy as you are wanting more. Living a more fuller life. I know, baby. I know. You'll be going down in a second. He's such a good boy. Okay, this fourth piece here, this fourth gateway was huge for me. Because when you're feeling, how can I be grateful? How can I do that? When what I'm experiencing feels like absolute cringing in my skin. Like, you feel like this when you see certain things. Maybe you look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe you look at the things that you have and you feel a cringe in your body. How are you telling me that I need to be thankful for this when this is not what I want? I want something else. So here's a huge piece. So we have to let go of the worthiness tied to the things that you currently have, possess, own, whether it's things or your body or whatever it is. We have to let go of the worthiness piece that is attached to those things. Because the worthiness of being attached to those things is what's causing the suffering. So if you're attached to the idea that if you have a skinny body, if you have the flat abs, and you're 20 pounds overweight to reach this ideal body, then you are attaching your worthiness to that body. And guess what? When you get to that body, it's not going to be enough. Shh. I know. You're going to be suffering the entire time until you get there. And because you haven't embodied gratitude, guess what's going to happen? How much gratitude can you actually have when you get there? You think you are. You think you're going to be grateful. You think you're going to be happy. You think you're finally going to have that personal power. You're going to finally feel worthy. You're going to finally have the man. You're going to finally have the job. You're going to finally speak up. And maybe you get a little bit of that, like a little false sense of personal power, and all of those things. But you're just put a Band-Aid on for what's actually feeling on in here. And guess what happens to a Band-Aid after you take too many showers? It washes the fuck off. So when we attach our worthiness to things outside of us, to a status, to a weight, to a number, to a partner, then you're seeking validation outside of you. And let me tell you, you are chasing you're chasing mirror and smoke, right? However you call that. Illusions. You're chasing illusions. Because once you get there, you're going to want more. Because what's one of the things that we want as humans? We do actually really want more. But when you don't anchor in the gratitude, you lose the experience of life. You're looking for the next thrill to fill that void. Whatever that thrill is. Ooh. I'm not wearing a bottle. I hope I didn't flash you. So I'm going to give you a little story to help anchor this in. For me, right, so when it comes to actually validation and feeling worthiness attached to things outside of me, I cleaned up a lot when it comes to my body in my early 20s. And then from mid-20 to late 20 to like 29, I was in this shadow match relationship where I put my worthiness onto something outside of me. And I really had to really gain my own personal power, my own inner strength, my own inner stability, my own worthiness as a woman, and what I was actually deserved in a relationship that was my birthright, right? But I had to feel that for myself. Then I was able to, right, finally leave that relationship with very confidently just move on by the time that I really felt that. And then there was this next area in my life I was ready to be like, hello, here we are. This is where you're still attaching your validation to. And that was status. I had so much of my self-worth attached to money and to the things that I have. When I was working at Lifetime Fitness as a personal trainer in Boca Raton, Florida, which Lifetime, it's like there's 3 different like levels, and then it was the Diamond, and Boca Raton, Florida is a really nice area where you have people who have a lot of money and all of those things. And I remember driving to work and feeling gross in my car, which was a good car. It was a Mazda M3, maroon, like a beige interior. It was great. Like it did everything that I needed it to do, and it never failed me. I bought it brand new. I paid the whole thing off. There was no dings on it. It wasn't a car that was mismatched colors or rusted or anything like that. And it had these mirrors or these windows that were huge, because that at that time those mirrors were huge. I remember you could just see all of me. Like I felt so exposed. So I would cringe in my skin praying that my clients would not see me, or that a potential client would not see me, because then they wouldn't pay for my services as a trainer. As if my worth was attached, as if my value as a trainer was attached to what I drove. Like I wasn't enough, or I didn't have any personal power, or I didn't feel like, I guess worthy, or, whatever the word is, unless I had certain things. So a couple of years later, my income's really growing. I buy a Lexus RC350, which I absolutely love that car. And I've already done a lot of healing with like worth and all that stuff by this point. And I had that car for I leased it. So what happened is, I decided to, in 2017, I decided to also leave corporate because I felt that corporate was also being the same way as my ex, right? Okay. I'm thinking that I actually feel, okay, no, let me start over with that piece. So eventually what happened is that because I started off in, oh God, I can hear people talking downstairs. This has really distracted me because normally I'm home alone when I do these things. And I was told nobody was gonna come home until 3. Okay, so eventually going off and starting on my own was a lot harder. I was pretty naive with the whole thing, but there was a bigger lesson behind that, and you'll see why. When the lease was up, I had to get a more economical car because I could no longer really afford this Lexus. And let me tell you, the level of, it was very, very, very hard for me to do that. It was very hard for me to let go, but obviously my bank account was the one that was dictating whether I had to do it or not. But like every single ounce of my body was just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because my worth was attached to the status that I had with the car that I drove. Putting all my validation to it. Now, continue forward. Me and Ron also met in 2017. So I'm having this beautiful experience with this man. I'm so in love. I'm so in love. I'm like, oh my God. We're going back and forth. He says, hey, why don't you move up? I make that split decision. Boom. Continue to fast forward. And what did happen is that everything got leveled out for me when it comes to my relationship with money. Like leveled out. I'm living in a place that I actually don't really like. My business is not making the income that I want. There are some months where I make 0. I don't even know how the hell I'm actually finding this money to pay my bills. Right, I actually had some money saved up, so that did help. But the level of shame and guilt that I felt with money and myself and my business was so deep. So deep. So deep that I couldn't hold gratitude. Like really hold gratitude for the things. Of course, I definitely had gratitude for the relationship that I have, but really deep in that. Because I was so caught up in this other experience of my life where, because I started this journey of really healing, my soul was like, all right, this is the next level that you need to heal. This. You can imagine the level of resistance that I had to feeling grateful for the money that I kept seeing the numbers just going down and down and down in my bank account. Like, how are you going to be telling me to feel grateful for that when this is my experience? But you know why I couldn't feel it? The gratitude for any way that money was presented to me in my life. Because I had my worth attached to it. 2019, I remember crying. I remember going to Costco with Ron. We pull up. I was been crying all day. I finally found the strength to stop crying. I step out of the car and I just start crying my eyes out because of the failure that I felt. Because of how much I attached myself to money and success and to things. But yet what was being called to me was to feel enough inside of me. To feel the level of personal power, me, raw, completely raw. and to love me for who I am exactly as I am now, and find the gratitude in my life and the things that I actually freaking have for me. Like the fact that, because here's the thing, I could have had a choice. If my business wasn't making any money, then why don't you get a job, Jessica? Why don't you go find a full-time job, and then you and your man can go and move out into another place? That way you're also bringing in more, you can bring in income, because I was pretty much only paying my bills. He was paying for everything. I didn't want that. I wanted to be full-time in my business. Eventually the next year in 2021, I did get some part-time jobs. It's a whole different story. But at the time, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that at all. And I have a man who's completely supporting me. And you know how much shame I had in that? I couldn't even really anchor in the gratitude. And every single time I complained about the house, how much shame he felt. How he didn't feel good enough because I didn't feel good enough, because I was attaching where I was with me, with my worth, as what I'm here to offer the world, as if that is attached to the things that I have. It's not. This is why we have a hard time with gratitude in the areas that we feel resistance in, and the areas that we feel it's not good enough, because we have our worth attached to that. There's no way you're going to find gratitude in that. Because until you get to a certain place, then you will. You think you will. But it's very false, because you haven't found the depth of you without that thing. But remember what I said. Being grateful for what you have doesn't mean you can't have more. Doesn't mean you can't desire for more. So that's the skill. That is the art. One firmly planted in gratitude, and the other one lifted in desire, and walking that walk. So I really had to reprogram my mind with how can I feel enough with where my life is right now, and be in the woman that I am at this moment, when all of these things were happening with my business and with money and with my success, that was also tied into like sexuality and all of that. I had to learn how to love the home that I was in, and feel love, like truly feel the love and the thankfulness for the fact that I have a home, a roof over my head. It keeps me warm. It keeps me cool. It keeps me dry. I'm with my man. This, like, he's providing this place for me. He's paying. I have food, more than enough food. I've never ever once felt starved, unless of my own doing from not eating enough, but like not because of there's no food in the house. And really learning probably what I think would have been best to learn as a child. And not take this moment in time in my life for granted, and how much I've come to get to this point that I'm with my man, and that he's never once told me or in any way, shape, or form insinuated to get a job. Because I believed in my business, and he believed it. He supported me even if he did not understand, because he's not a risk taker. But he really embodied that masculine energy. And to me, money is also masculine. But my soul, in my healing journey, because I've committed to this path of evolution and growth and really living a sovereign life, I really needed to create sovereignty with money and worthy and success and status, so that now I can come from this squeaky clean energy. 222 is the time. I wish I could. No, I can't. Okay, Abu, we're almost done. So now, because I actually can anchor in the gratitude for everything, it creates an opening in those areas, because now what comes into my life comes from a squeaky clean energy. So the fifth thing that I want to say is that when you truly appreciate, what I truly appreciate granted access from a clean energetic space to hold more. Because what I mentioned before, right, what I kept repeating is that if you're seeking validation outside of these things, right, then once you have it, number one, sometimes it's not always a squeaky clean energy with that, and you usually can't hold it. Either it goes away or you're just consistently seeking more and more and more to fulfill this void. So as I'm learning all of this that I'm telling you about in my life during this period of time, I remember launching a program. And this program, I was like, I'm manifesting 20 women to come into my program. 20 women, 20 women, 20 women. I'm trying to hold the vibe. This is what I'm calling in. Guess how many women signed up? 2. After having failed launches, by the way. And do you think that I would be grateful for those 2 women after everything that I've learned? No. I was angry. I was mad. You have no idea how many pillows I hit. And I'm doing all this shadow work, and I finally sit down with Spirit, and I was just like, we're journaling about it. And then they said to me, you cannot expand into more if what you have is not enough. It's like, damn. I felt like I got slapped in the butt. like, put me over your knee and slap, slap. Bad girl. Abu! He just farted. Do you have to poop? Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up because this dog is about to shit his pants. So, and here's the other piece to this. I am so happy I did not manifest 20 women in that program, because what I delivered, because I was in this state of still seeking external validation. And this is where one of the biggest areas of where I finally released that, as you can see on the previous live that I had, I really had to let go of metrics because I was still holding my worthiness attached to that. And I really couldn't appreciate just the fact that I was going live, and for anyone who would show up live, right? Because if one shows up, if I'm holding myself to metrics, and if one shows up, then that one is not enough. Just like this. Those 2 were not enough. And I'm so happy that I did not call in 20 women. I would have failed that. And it wasn't just because of that. I really wasn't ready to hold. There was still another layer that I needed to learn. I launched another program after that. I was like, I'm manifesting 5 to 10 women. 1 signed up. But let me tell you, I was so grateful for that one. So grateful. I gave it my all. I pour my heart and soul into it. And that opened up a gateway to receive clients and to receive more money from a very squeaky clean energy. Because when you open up that gateway from a place of gratitude, from a place of this is what I have is enough, and I'm going to really love on this thing that I have, especially if it's an area that you have resistance in, where you have attached a lot of worth to it. When you finally come to this place, what you bring in is so clean and light and feels good. The way I feel about money is so different than before, because before I was entitled, and of course I need to have this. I would take on clients that I did not really want to train, because no, but I needed to hit numbers as one thing, and number two, I wanted that money no matter what. Not a good energy, not a good way to bring money into your life. Now everything is so clean. I love all of my clients. I love the women that I work with. Clean. I feel the love in with money in all different areas, because money comes in all ways. It doesn't always have to come directly, let's say, through you. You can manifest through your partner, which I did. You know, I was almost acting as if I was like, if my income was like in poverty level, and I acted the way I felt was like, I'm so poor, but like I was manifesting so much through my partner, and I couldn't even see that because of the blindfolds that I had, and this layer of shadow that I had with money and success. Now it's different. And guess how much I receive from so many people. I receive so much, and when I receive it, I'm just like, yes. I soak it in. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay? And the last thing, which I've already said this, but this is something that you really need to understand as a human being. You are always going to want more. This is the process of evolution and growth. We are evolutionary beings. We don't just stay in a state. We continue to grow. That is our process. In a relationship, when you guys are not growing together, what happens? It feels like it's dying. And growth can happen in so many different ways. When you feel like you're not growing, there's something inside you that feels like apathetic, right? So we are a species that wants more. So when you are anchoring in gratitude, it doesn't take away from that desire to have more. But when you really anchor this in, you are living a more fuller experienced life. When you anchor it in all areas, even in the places that may not feel good enough for you right now, which we already talked about why. You can always want more. You can always desire more, but you have to stay rooted in something, or you're just living up here. And ask anybody who does not feel grounded in their life, they don't like to feel that feeling. You need something to keep you attached, to keep you feeling in the present moment, to not have another year go by where you feel like, oh, whoa, what happened? Gratitude brings you to presence, the present moment, to soaking things in. Do you know what it feels like when you actually soak something in, and then in that area you receive more? It feels so good. You live a more fuller experienced life. You live a life in harmony. So this completes today's live. I want you to look in the different areas where you need to dissolve shadows, dissolve energies, shadow matches, shadow energies, when it comes to things that you have placed worthiness of on you, external validation on you, to the word gratitude. I want you to look at that. Like, if you are on this, watching this live, recorded, whatever it is, whatever brought you here, it's calling you forth to do this. It's calling you to do this and to anchor in the gratitude. And where can you improve your state of gratitude so you can really, like, God, experience and feel what I feel? Is my life exactly where I want it to be, where I've been dreaming and wanting to manifest for so much time? No. But I live every moment with this full body experience. Because I have a foot planted in gratitude and I have the other one in desire. And I've let go of these shadow matches. And when life does get hard, it's okay, because it's going to happen. This is what I want for you. I'm getting chills all over my whole body's like, woo! I want you to experience this. If you loved everything I had to say and you want me to be your mentor, you want me to be your guide, you want to dissolve shadow energies, shadow matches when it comes to men, your relationships, sexuality, money, your body, you want to stop, you want to put to a halt these trauma and drama like reactions in life where it's like high and low because you're seeking external validation and things in your life, or there's cycles that you just cannot seem to break, and you want to release all of that and live in harmony with your life so you can be a woman that can hold and have it all. Because if you want to hold and have it all, this is partly of what it takes. This is one area that it takes. Then message me. I would love to talk to you if you want to do that. So there's 3 ways that we can do this. You can send me a message like, hey, let me know more about your mentorship. Send me the link and I'll send you the website and you can check that out if that's your vibe. It's very easy. It's very like bullet point oriented. So you know exactly what we're going to be doing inside this container together. You can message me and we can ask questions back and forth. If you're like, I want to chat a little bit about this, see if this is the most aligned decision for myself. Beautiful, we can do that. Just know that I'm not in messages a lot. Like I'm not in my DMs a lot. I mean, I don't hang out there, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't receive notifications. So if you want something more uninterrupted where we can actually flow in conversation, then we can set up a free 30-minute connection call where we can talk about this. You can let me know where you are, what your struggles are, what your desires are, and then I can share more about this mentorship and see if this is a beautiful alignment and you can make that sovereign decision for yourself. So those are the 3 ways. I have 6-week, 12-week, and a year package. Oh my God. What was that? I feel this 1-year package is really making me excited. I feel like there's a woman out there that's like really ready to commit to a year and work on all of these areas in a year. Like I feel it. And I'm waiting for you. Either way, the 6, the 12-week are beautiful packages as well. And we are going to have some beautiful transformations in this mentorship together and really embody that woman that you see in your mind when it comes to sacred unions, when it comes to your sensuality and the sacredness of that, when it comes to your body and it comes to your relationship with money. I'm going to marry your inner king and queen so you can be a woman that commands life and hold and have it all. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here from my full heart. I have so much gratitude for you spending this time with me. And I'm going to breathe that in and just going to let it sink down into my root chakra, down into earth. Thank you, and I love you, and I'll see you on the next one.